answer. Okay. Next thing I want you to do, your instructions are going to say simplify the following. Simplify the following, excuse me, over real numbers. Simplify the following over real numbers. Does anyone have any idea what that means?
Fractions?
No, not fractions.
They're going to be imaginary, then go in.
No. Okay, so simplify the following over the real numbers. Okay? All that basically means is without using I. Okay? So no I's are in your answers. Okay, remember we have no I's in these answers. Okay, so I want you to simplify for number 8. Simplify the cube root of -8. Cube root of -8. Anytime I have an odd handle number and a negative underneath, what do you know about your answer? Is it going to be positive, negative, or 0? Negative. Okay, do I have to put it in the bars? No, bars are only for even handle numbers. What is the cube root of -8? What does 8 break down to?
2, 2, and 2.
2, 2, and 2. Okay, take this out, keep the negative. -2 is your answer. Okay, we're looking for a -2 as an answer. All right, how about if I want you to simplify the square root of -100c squared. Square root of -100c squared. What is the handle number here? A 2. Can I break down a c squared? That breaks down to c and c, right? Can I break down 100?
Yeah,
10 and 10. Can I break down a negative? No. So, can I have a negative with an even handle number? No. Answer here is cannot be simplified. Okay, so even if you have part of it that can be simplified, okay, even if you have like a variable that can break down, because of that negative right there, your entire answer is cannot be simplified, okay, unless we used I's. But we specifically said simplify the following over the real numbers. Okay, when you're dealing with the real numbers, that means no I's are allowed. Okay, number 10, I want you to simplify root x squared minus 6x plus 9. X squared minus 6x plus 9. How am I going to take the square root of a trinomial? Is there another way to write this? How else could I write x squared minus 6x plus 9? You could factor it, right? This is x minus 3 and x minus 3. So would you agree that I could write this is equivalent to root x minus 3 squared, right? Does that work? Then what happens here? Can I just break this out, or do I have to keep it in bars? What's my handle number? Even, a 2. Okay, so when you break this out, you have to put it inside absolute value bars. Now, can I break anything out of that? No, you may not. Okay, this is your answer. I do not want to see you make this positive and make that positive. Okay, that's a really common mistake that people make, and I would really like it if you did not make that mistake. Okay, so that's your answer there. Okay, try another one, number 11. Okay, I want you to simplify the 7th root of -128x to the 7th. -128x to the 7th. Find the 7th root of -128x to the 7th power. First off, is this possible? Can you get an answer? Can I simplify something that has an odd handle number and a negative underneath? Yes. Okay, what do you know about your answer? Is it going to be positive, negative, bars, 0? Has to be negative. Okay? What is 128? The 7th root of 128. Take a guess.
I don't know.
Okay, you could break this down
4.
if you didn't know it was 2. Well, let's think about it. What does 128 break into? What goes into 128?
2,
At least 2, right?
2 and
2 and 64.
64.
64 breaks down to 8 and 8. 8 breaks into 2, 2, and 2. This 8 breaks into 2, 2, and 2. So if I need 7 identical things, I have 7 2's. Okay, so you're going to break out a negative 2. What is the 7th root of x to the 7th?
X.
Just x. Okay, that's your answer. And that's completely simplified. Okay, that one's completely simplified. Anyone have questions so far?
How many more are there?
Couple. Okay, again, we're still simplifying. I'm going to simplify for number 12. Okay, you're going to simplify root x squared minus 36. Square root of x squared minus 36. This is really similar to the one I just did on number 10. How can I break this down? What does this break into? X plus 6 and x minus 6. So does that give you any perfect binomial squared? No, these are different, okay? So x squared by itself could be, you could find the square root of. 36 by itself you could find the square root of. But these do not give you the exact same thing, so this cannot be simplified. Cannot be simplified. Okay, it has to be the exact same thing in order for it to be simplified. That cannot be simplified. Okay, I'm going to give you a couple of multiple choice questions. Okay, a couple of multiple choice questions. The cube root of w cubed, is that equal to a w, b negative w, or c absolute value of w? A, B, or C? We'll take a vote here in just a second. Okay, I want you to decide. I think this is A, B, or C. You have to vote, by the way. Okay, so raise your hand if you think it's A. Okay, who thinks it's B? Anyone think it's C? Some of you are apparently not thinking because you didn't raise your hand. Okay, A is the correct answer. Okay, anytime you have an odd exponent and handle number, you just break it out. You do not have to get absolute value bars. Okay, try another one, another multiple choice. I'm going to know the 10th root of, 10 is your handle number, of y minus 6 to the 10th power. Okay, y minus 6 to the 10th power. We'll do another multiple choice here. Okay, is this A, y minus 6, B is y plus 6, we made both positive, or C, absolute value of y minus 6. So A, B, or C? Raise your hand if you think this is A. No one thinks it's A? Okay, how about B? How about C? This is C, right? Okay, so I know a lot of these seem like, okay, this is really basic, but it's really easy to get these kind of all mixed up and jumbled up when you're starting to do your homework, okay? 2 more here. These are going to be true or false. Okay, I want you to tell me if this is true or false. And if the statement is false, if false, give a counter example. If false, give a counter example. Okay, so for number 15, is the square root of n squared equal to n? Actually, what is a counter example?
The answer.
No, a counter example is something where I want you to give me actual numbers to show this does not work. Okay, so I don't want you to tell me the rule. I want you to actually show me numbers. Okay, plug something in. There is no necessarily right answer here. You could have a ton of counter examples if you can. So, is this true or false? So thumbs up, thumbs down. Thumbs up for true, thumbs down for false. You guys tell me, true or false? And no sideways thumbs, because that means you aren't sure and you're not really thinking. Okay, so true or false? We all think this is true.
Hey.
Okay? What if I gave you, what if your n value, what if I just randomly said that n was equal to -2? If you plug that in, -2 squared, does that equal -2? Does that work? That doesn't work, right? This is a 2 here. This negative will cancel out, correct?
Yes.
Those go away. This becomes a +2. +2 does not equal -2, okay? This is false. Because remember, anytime you take something out and it's an even handle number, what do you have to do with the answer? The absolute value bars, okay? And anytime you have a variable, a letter inside those bars, the bars have to stay. You cannot break it out of the bars, okay? The bars have to stay. So I know that's a little bit tricky, but you have to get those rules straight, okay? Try another one, last one. Okay, again, true or false? Is the 7th root of r to the 7th equal to r? True or false? And if it's false, give me a counter example. If it is false, give me a counter example. Is that true? Can I just, do I have to have any bars? No bars. Okay, if you have an odd exponent or handle number, you do not need the bars. So that is true. Okay? I would like to go over a couple of problems from your homework as well. So specifically, and I'm going to give you guys your homework worksheet in just a second, but I want to show you a couple of homework questions, okay? Stuff like this. It says, for what value of x, oops, sorry, you can't see it. For what value of x does each expression represent a real number, okay? This is talking about when I went back and I gave you those rules in blue, okay? I gave you some rules in blue intentionally, and I told you that if you have any odd handle number, then that means that any number could be put underneath this radical, right? So any number could be put underneath this radical. So if you have an odd handle number, so something like this, does it matter what you put in for x? It doesn't matter, okay? You can simplify anything, okay? So when it asks for what value of x does each expression represent a real number, the answer that you should actually write here is all reals, okay? All reals, okay? And I will, so write this on your paper, number 25. I'm doing number 25 for you, okay? However, if you have something like 24, where you have an even handle number.
Attention, Will Alvaro Chavez from Clovis Heights. Please report to the main office.
Okay.
Alvaro.
If you have an
Chavez.
even handle number, that means you have to take whatever's inside here and make it
The Clovis East office.
greater than or equal to 0 and then solve. So you take whatever's underneath the radical, make it greater than or equal to 0 and then solve. So how would you solve that? You just add 1. So your answer here is actually x greater than or equal to 1. Okay, so you're going to have a couple that are like that. So if you have an even handle number, you have to set up the equation so greater than or equal to 0 and then solve. If you have an odd handle number, automatically your answer is all real numbers.